It's Sunday morning, it's Father's Day, and I'm out with my parents on a walk. We've decided to have a bit of a Q&A session. I'm going to be asking them how they've dealt with me having diabetes for 11 years. First question is, and it can be answered by either, can you remember the week leading up to my diagnosis? Or even better, can you remember when I was admitted into hospital?
In fact, I remember the weekend. The weekend was probably more memorable because you were playing football and you were struggling on the pitch for sort of energy. You kept coming to the touchline where we were stood, didn't he? Coming over and
running over and
sort of just saying, "I just haven't got any energy, Mum." And then suddenly you go again, and then
just
it'd be
wanting
back
a drink constantly.
just very, very thirsty. And of course we really didn't know what was going on at all. So in fact we had some orange squash, didn't we?
Yeah,
Or orange juice,
fresh
or
orange juice.
which really,
It was the worst thing to give
yeah,
you
with hindsight, it was the last thing you should have been given, really. But we just thought it was
to quench your thirst.
just a sort of
You
a
went through
bit of a boost, and
bottles of it.
that was it.
And that continued all through that evening as well.
It did. On the Sunday, because that would have been a Saturday
No,
morning,
that was a
wasn't it?
Sunday.
Oh, later on then on the Sunday, I remember sitting with you and we were watching a darts tournament on the TV. It must have been quite a big darts tournament.
Strictly.
But I just remember you saying you wanted a drink, and got to a point where I was sort of slightly got irritated because you were asking to drink so much. And then you got very distressed. I remember you crying.
I think we put some salt into the
The
water.
something, but I remember you crying about this, and we then realised that
Something
we ought
wasn't right.
to take you down to the doctors, which we did on the Monday morning. And then no sooner had he sort of done his rudimentary sort of test on it, he casually said to me, "Take George straight to the children's ward, they'll be expecting you." And when we got there, I've got to say, the staff at the hospital were excellent, weren't they? Because firstly, they knew you were coming in, but they just got a grip of you straight away with what was needed.
Well, they wouldn't let you out until you self-injected.
Yeah, I had to show that I was able to inject
That's
myself,
right.
wasn't I?
And you-
Glasses off.
And
Backlight.
action. Not a backlight. This does 4K videos, Dad. My second question is, as parents, how do you come to terms with me having diabetes?
Well, at first we didn't actually know an awful lot about it, so we did a lot of reading.
Yeah.
The more we read, the more concerned we were.
I don't think it actually upset us though, did it? I think probably.
I think I was probably more upset than you were.
But I think also George's attitude helped
Yeah.
an awful lot, because if he'd been
He was
all
very
distressed and all the rest of it,
very
which he wasn't,
positive.
it would have been more difficult. So that helped. But I think also knowing that it was, because does have huge consequences if you don't look after yourself, obviously. But,
Yeah.
but knowing that probably that wasn't likely to happen, and of course that a lot of people do live normal lives. There is an awful lot of information out there that can just give you a good balance and perspective on what it's about, isn't it? Without you having to sort of panic.
I went out and bought a cookery book
You did?
straight away so I could prepare
Understand.
meals that would
Calorific and
would
stuff.
help you. And we bought a new set of scales so that we could calorie count, what carbohydrates.
I mean, the two initial nurses that you had contact with it,
Which I still do.
and you, yeah, quite right, were just superb. They didn't ever not keep us out of it. We were fully aware of what was going on, all the times, because we went to all your appointments, didn't we?
Yeah, and they came to
The
They came
house.
to the house.
Came to
Yeah.
the house, so
They
it
were
was
very
treated very
supportive.
seriously, but also sort of at a nice pace for us. So we're very lucky that it wasn't a loss.
Yeah.
So
Because I'm still here.
we did in the early days have to sort of give you notice for meal times and just check that you had sort of injected,
Yeah,
or
did what I needed
you
to
were,
do.
yeah. And perhaps in the night, I think there were the first few weeks, perhaps was it during the night we
used to go in and
might
check
have
on
been
you.
just to make sure you'd taken
The first
Levemere, is it the
times
long-
when you went and stayed at friends' houses, or you went away
Yeah.
on a camp, or without us, that was a bit
like,
nervy.
As parents of a diabetic, what's been the most challenging aspect of the journey so far?
feel responsible in not as in for your condition, but you feel responsible for making sure that you're looking after yourself.
Yeah.
How it ends up,
And
yeah.
because you know that's a parental role, that natural parental role, isn't it? Really.
And not being able to take control, because you've got to take control
And
of your life.
That is the other thing.
That is hard.
because we don't have any control over that at all. So the main challenge, if you like, was just seeing that you got to a point where you could manage it yourself and not necessarily need us. You know,
I think as a mother, the maternal instinct is to wrap you up and look after you, and it was very difficult to let go and let you do that for yourself.
Sure.
And in many ways, it still does.
So my last question is, as parents of a diabetic child, if you had one bit of advice to give to a new parent, what would it be?
I would say, don't panic, because there's a lot of help. There is a lot of help. And the only other thing I would say is give support. Really.
And believe in your child.
Yeah.
Go with what the child wants to do, but be there just in case they make the wrong choice or decision, and you can guide them back on track again.
It's all about support.
Don't interfere.
A question that I wasn't going to ask, but how did you feel when I went travelling for so long?
Didn't particularly worry me. My main sort of not concern, but I wanted to make sure that you had good travel insurance, and that is doable. You know, that you're not excluded from travel insurance. I think that gives us peace of mind, because of course at the end of the day, particularly now, you're an adult, and you know you're now in a position, aren't you, where you know how you feel.
I felt two ways. I felt very scared because you were so far away and I couldn't do anything instantly if I needed to. But also I had every confidence in you because you knew how to deal with it.
And I think that also bounces off with me. Me knowing that you have that confidence in me, that makes me feel like that I'm obviously capable of doing it and needing to do it.
I agree.
Done. So that's our questions about family support. I hope you liked the video. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. My next video will be in damn it.
I'll tell you what we do next time you do that thumbs up. Right?
Oh, we've got to go like that, haven't we?
Correct. Just go casual. Don't go like that. Just go.
Corny though.
That was the wrap up of my video about family support. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing your comments.